Greetings and welcome to show number 4, coming to you live from the beautiful Green Mountains of Vermont. I'm Peter, and as always, I will be playing and singing a variety of tunes, some of which are iconic oldies, and some original music by none other than me. This is my adaptation of the Bob Marley classic, I Shot the Sheriff. Here's a song I wrote not too long ago. I call it Somewhere in the Night. Now I'm going to move over to the keyboard studio after a brief break. Be right back. Here we are. Okay, Johnny Nash had a #1 hit with this song back in 1972. It's called I Can See Clearly Now. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. Think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. Look all around, nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue sky. Think I can make it now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. Think I can make it now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. 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 And I keep doing that. Now, I had a #1 hit with this next ballad. No, wait, that's not from around here. That occurred in an alternate Earth, in one of the parallel universes. I'm told it went platinum on the planet of the Phorons. That's a world you most likely haven't heard of, but it has, in fact, had an outsized influence on our world, especially in the world of politics. But that's a whole nother story, and I'll tell you about that another time, maybe next week. I wrote this song, which is about time. About the time I first started noticing the way that time seems to go faster the older you get. I guess it's only reasonable that it should do that. After all, when you're, say, 2, a year represents half of your life. When you're 20, a year is a mere 5% of your life, and so on. It's the so on that's the devil of it, because it never stops accelerating. Time just goes faster and faster, till it's moving at an absolutely reckless rate of speed and careening totally out of control. The song is called "The Years Keep Slipping By." Things I thought would be fulfilling left me burdened with a heavy load, and I know that I was willing, but I could not find the road. That I spent searching in a dream, inside a dream. And though I know that things are not what they seem, I can't stop this dream, and the years keep slipping by. Too many years of gazing at the sky, just trying to figure out and wonder why, and all the things I didn't try, and the years go up in smoke. We laugh about it, but we know it ain't no joke. And I wanna live some more, never wanna die, but the years keep slipping by. Stop the passing of time that only flows in just one way. And although I keep on asking, I'm still waiting for the day that I can stop this searching in this dream and come awake. And though I try and try, I try and try, but the years keep slipping by. So many years of gazing at the sky, trying to figure out and wonder why, and all the things I never tried. And the years go up in smoke. We laugh about it, but we know it ain't no joke. And I wanna live some more, never wanna die, but the years keep slipping by. I am a being of light, here for just a time. I am a being of light, and here for just a time. We are beings of light, here for just a time. We're gonna take a brief commercial break. Come back with some more piano music. If you're enjoying this content, please consider sending me a tip. I have no corporate sponsorship, so every contribution helps to keep things going. Just point your phone at the Venmo QR code on the screen or click the PayPal link in the description below. To those who have contributed, a heartfelt thank you. And in just a moment, back to the show. And back again. Now for something a little more up-tempo. This next tune I wrote just for the purpose of playing fast. Give the fingers some exercise. It's got a humble title. It's called A Minor Matter. And back over to the keyboard studio in just a second. Back again. Apparently, I had everything muted. All right, we're going to start this all over again. Here we go. Now, that song was called Someone to Watch Over Me, written almost a century ago by George and Ira Gershwin for one of the early Broadway musicals. It's said to be one of the most covered songs ever, with over 1,800 recordings of it. Speaking of things that happened long ago, there was this incident in first grade. It was a bit of a formative experience, something that contributed to making me the man I am today, so to speak. In episode 3 of this series, I discussed winning the clapping contest in Miss Barnett's first grade class at the Post Avenue School. Well, later on that same year, one day, near the end of the day, Miss Barnett announced that we were about to do something really fun. That fun thing was called the Hokey Pokey. I frowned at hearing what struck me as sounding like baby talk. What on earth could she be talking about? What's a hokey? What's a pokey? And what do you do when you do it? My hand shot up and teacher said, "Yes, Peter?" "Miss Barnett, what does hokey pokey mean?" There were a few snickers from the rest of the class. Miss Barnett's face looked surprised, then thoughtful, and then amused. And she replied, "Why, Peter, it doesn't actually mean anything. It's what you might call a nonsense lyric." Well, I thought about that, and I decided I didn't think much of it. After all, didn't grown-ups say things like, "Stop your nonsense," in a tone that was hardly fun? And when they declared things like, "That's a lot of nonsense," they usually sounded angry and impatient, and what was declared nonsense was not to be paid attention nor respected. But she had said lyric, and that had to mean that it involved a song that we were going to sing, listen to. I didn't know what. Okay, so I said, "Miss Barnett, why are we going to listen to something that's nonsense?" She just smiled and said, "Well, you'll see." And before I could ask another question, she said, "Now, class, does anybody know what the hokey pokey is?" Well, immediately, a bunch of hands went up, mostly the girls, in response to which she invited all those who knew the hokey pokey to form a circle and hold hands. I found myself frowning again. I loved playing outdoors, but I disliked ritualized games and took a dim view of anything involving circles and holding hands, especially that one where everybody falls down. I never understood why that was supposed to be fun. Falling down usually hurt. I tried assiduously to avoid it. Furthermore, I understood hand-holding as an affectionate gesture. So why would I want to hold hands with somebody I didn't even know, maybe didn't even like? Well, the kids in the circle seemed cool with it, though, and appeared to know what was going to happen next. They were champing at the bit to start doing, I had no idea what. "Now, children," enthused Miss Barnett, "let's show the rest of the class how to do the hokey pokey." The familiar scratch rumble alerted me to the fact that Miss Barnett had brought out the official school phonograph once again, and we were about to hear something. As soon as the band on the record struck up, I knew I wasn't going to like it. It was, yuck, a children's record. You could always tell because they made the musical instruments sound brassy and silly, not mellow or pretty. What came next was even worse. A grown-up lady was singing in a loud, exaggeratedly bouncy and cheerful tone. She sings, "You put your left foot in." The kids in the circle, who were jumping up and down, more or less in time to the music, all hopped onto their right foot, lifted their left foot, and pointed it towards the center of the circle. The raucous behavior indicated that they found this highly amusing. "You take your left foot out." And they all went back to 2 feet, grinning a mile wide. "You put your left foot in and you shake it all about." The kids went onto their right feet again, pointed their left feet, and shook them vigorously to gales and peals of laughter. Now, I gazed upon this uproarious scene with something less than enthusiasm. I instantly hated the song, and I didn't understand why it existed. The silly words, the amateurish performance on the record, grated on my little ears. The gyrating circle reminded me of Ring Around the Rosie, which I held in contempt as a baby game. And the whole affair had me looking at the clock and wishing I could be somewhere else, doing something that actually was fun. That's the first half of the story, and the rest after a brief commercial break. If you're enjoying the music and commentary, please consider sending me a tip. I have no corporate sponsors, so every contribution is really helpful. Just point your phone at the Venmo QR code on the screen or click the PayPal link in the description below. To all those who have contributed, a big thank you. And in just a moment, back to the show. And back. Well, the singer continues to sing. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself about. As the singer on the record belted out this instruction, everybody spun. The girls did dramatic and elaborate twirls, while the boys twisted around spastically in a kid's parody of drunken grown-ups. One girl raised an arm and placed her hand on top of her head, the other arm akimbo, and did one quick revolution before stopping smartly and precisely where she started. She looked immensely pleased with herself. When the singer finished up the verse with, "That's what it's all about," that was the final straw. I really, really didn't like this song. Nonsense indeed. It made no sense at all. I wanted to say to Miss Barnett, "It's not about anything, so what's all about?" I also wanted to ask her about the bad rhyme. About doesn't rhyme with about. It's the same word. I knew that even nursery rhymes didn't stoop to that amateurish level, and thought the grown-ups who made up that song could have done a much better job. But Miss Barnett was busy, waving her hands in the air in time to the music, as if conducting an imaginary orchestra, and beaming approvingly as she watched the children at play. Well, the song droned on. You put your foot, knee, waist, arm, etc. On and on through the various limbs and appendages of the body to be put in and took out, so to speak. Bored and annoyed, I sighed and hoped it would all be over soon. Now, it is an unfortunate fact that the culture in those days was such that many parents believed that it was their solemn duty to teach their children shame and embarrassment regarding their physical bodies. And this manifested in distorted behaviors. The little boys found it hilarious to talk gross and crude about body parts and functions, while the little girls were overly squeamish and often acted ashamed and embarrassed. I was not taught this way. As the song progressed, the kids who knew the words began to sing along, the singing getting stronger as each one began to remember the lyrics. Then suddenly, the singing doubled in volume and the laughter escalated to nearly hysterical levels because you put your hiney in, you put your hiney out, you put your hiney in and you shake it all about. The kids were all turned towards the outside of the circle, but looking back over their shoulders and twerking. The laughter reached deafening heights. I was not laughing. I felt sad and a little creeped out watching the spectacle. I had been taught rationally regarding the human body, and I didn't see what was so hilarious about calling attention to yourself this way. As far as I knew, your butt was just part of your body and not something excruciatingly funny. But I also knew that many of the kids were taught certain old-fashioned ideas, and it was to this that I attributed the over-the-top behavior when the Heine lyric appeared. The whole thing was making me exquisitely uncomfortable. I know these were heavy thoughts for a 6-year-old. Everyone else seemed to be having the fun that Miss Barnett had promised. But I just sat there, wishing I could go home. Finally, the miserable ditty ended, and Miss Barnett announced cheerfully that we would all now form a circle, and we would all do the hokey pokey. I felt my body stiffen, and a kind of electric shock combined with a wave of heat coursed through me as I realized, in utter horror, that I was expected to join the circle. I looked longingly at the door, but this was school. You didn't just up and leave. So as the other kids were beginning to make the circle, I walked up to Miss Barnett and I said, Miss Barnett? Yes, Peter. Would it be okay if if I gestured vaguely in the direction of the circle. I mean, could I just not do this? Miss Barnett sat down in her teacher's chair, looked across at me. She hesitated just a moment, but then smiled reassuringly and said, "Why, of course, Peter. You don't have to do the hokey pokey if you don't want to." A wave of relief swept over me, accompanied by a rush of gratitude and affection towards my teacher. I quickly made my way to the back of the room and installed myself at a desk in the last row. I was so relieved to not be doing the hokey pokey that my mood had quickly brightened, and I watched the spectacle with a sense of calm detachment and mild disdain. At one point I thought, what is wrong with these people? Then it occurred to me that there were 19 of them and only one of me, and I wondered, briefly and uneasily, if there was something wrong with me. But then I quickly reassured myself, no, they just don't understand. I do, but they don't. And with that simple explanation, I felt at ease again and observed with appreciation that no one appeared to notice or care that I was a non-participant. All the way home from school, the hokey pokey, which had instantly become my new least favorite song in the world, played insistently in my head. But as soon as I got home, I headed right upstairs to my room, turned on my record player, and anxiously awaited for it to warm up. Of course, it had vacuum tubes, which must be glowing red before you can hear the music. I put on my favorite record, which had a song about a duck that I especially favored, and blissfully drifted off into a spacious world where nothing else existed. I put the hokey pokey behind me and never looked back. The end. Now we're going to move back to the piano lounge for a couple more piano tunes. Be right back. And here we are again. This is a song from a Broadway musical. I forget its name. It's called If I Loved You. And then this tune is called, this one was written in 1930. It's almost 100 years old, but it's still a good one. It's called Georgia on My Mind. Well, that's about all we have time for tonight. Next week, same time, same station, will be episode 5. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as those are the only things that the YouTube algorithm understands. And it is enormously helpful in getting the channel a little more visibility. Contributions to the tip jar are always deeply appreciated. So remember that today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Thank you, and good night.